Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. Today is a very, very big day, and I am super pumped because this is the official beginning of real conversations with rich and resilient women. And this is a little baby project that has been in the works for quite some time now. And so today we officially begin, and I am very excited because I have an amazing woman coming on that we are going to be having a conversation with. But I will be sharing who that is in just a moment. So as you're tuning in, say hi, welcome. This is Real Conversations with Rich and Resilient Women. This is where I am going to be having raw, uncut conversations with women who are rich in power, confidence, ideas, wisdom, and are resiliently trailblazing their path to changing the coaching industry and changing the damn world for the better and becoming standout leaders in their niche. This is something that I want to bring together for all of you because as we have these conversations, not only are you going to get insanely valuable wisdom, insights, perspectives, but you are also going to learn tools and learn from our mistakes and learn about things that we've accomplished and achieved and how we got there as we have been resiliently paving our own path toward becoming standout leaders in the coaching industry. And today, I have a very special guest that's going to be joining us in just a moment. But I want you to know that this series is going to be live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and mark that in your calendars because every Wednesday I'm going to be having an amazing woman on who will be sharing her insights, perspectives, tools, and wisdom with you so that you can learn what you need to learn to resiliently pave your own path towards being a rich and resilient CEO and leader in the industry. So I am just currently waiting for Bonnie, who is our guest today, to join us. So as you're tuning in, say what's up. I miss you too, Mandy. I miss you too. Let me go ahead and just tag her. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, she is now invited. So today we are going to be having a conversation about ethical pricing and disrupting industry norms. This is something I'm very passionate about. My history is I come from the social work field, so ethical practice, competency, having integrity, holding high value for our work is very, very, very important. And as we move and grow in this industry, we're still such babies. So much is being revealed. And so today we're going to have a conversation about ethically pricing our programs as well as disrupting some of these industry norms. So let's go ahead and bring Bonnie on. I'm going to introduce her a little bit and then let her introduce herself for all of you. Let me make sure I know what I'm doing. If y'all know me, y'all know me and technology have problems. Trying to hit accept. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, y'all. Okay. Oh, she's unable to join. We're doing this. We're going to figure it out as we go. All right, Bonnie. Are you here with me still? There we go. We figured it out. Yay! Hello, Bonnie. I was doing a little bit of an introduction before you came on, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to you. I've already kind of introduced the conversation and why we're here and what we're doing today. So why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone and tell everybody who you are and what you do and a little bit about yourself.
Sweet. Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here today. It is an honor. The moment I saw your content, I fell in love. I was like, this lady gets it. This is my sister. Love this. And can you see me okay? Because it looks a little pixelated on my end.
No, you look great. We can see you good over here.
So it's my internet. Cool. All right. So, I'm a coach in every sense of the word. I just love leading and helping develop leaders. Specifically, that's who I usually cater to. And a little bit about my history. I actually started out in ministry. I wanted to be a pastor, and thank goddess, I got called out of that box and shown that there's a much bigger cause that I was put here to be bringing attention to. And so I learned a lot, though, in that time from ministerial leadership, a lot about ethics, a lot about being a leader of integrity, regardless of whether, you know, what your spiritual beliefs are, whatever your background is, just being a leader of integrity, no matter where you're at, what space you're at, even as a business owner. I'm currently the founder and owner of a startup called Mind and Body. And Mind and Body's mission is to level the economic playing field for women worldwide. And we come at you with this whole fitness thing, like, yeah, like you think we're a regular fitness brand, but when you come into our community, realize that we look at fitness as the whole, fitness of the mind, fitness of the soul, fitness of the body. They are not disconnected. They are very much one. And what I found in my own personal journey that started with fitness is that when a woman gets tapped in, tuned in to her body, which is the vessel of her confidence, like when she gets awakened and realizes what the fuck she can do, she's unstoppable. And so my whole thing I used to be just a solopreneur coach, and I realized the vision that I had was bigger than just Bonnie. So I had to get a team to help build out this platform we're creating. And one of the messages is lowering the barrier for entry to coaching, right? I still take clients one-on-one and do premium pricing and premium programs, but I didn't want women who were like where I started out at to think, well, if I don't have 4 figures, then I guess my life can never be changed. So I wanted to make sure that there were entry levels to women as they got to where they needed to go. And that's who I am. That's what I do. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you today, Kate.
Oh, I'm so excited to have this conversation today. And you're speaking my language when you're talking about a holistic approach and incorporating mind and body, because that's kind of the same thing. People come into my world and they're getting business and mindset coaching, and then all of a sudden we're doing somatic releasing and nervous system regulation. And I'm like, gotcha, come in here. We're going to do a holistic approach to business. We build business from the inside out over here. So I totally get it. That's how things work, right? As within, so without. So we have to work all parts of ourselves with the human first before we're able to accomplish those big goals that we have for ourselves, whether fitness, money, business, entrepreneurship, whatever. So I love that. And it's funny that we kind of connected yesterday when we were talking around like, okay, so what's a hot topic for you right now? Like, what's a hot topic? And the same thing was coming up for me because I just did a training inside of my membership, the 5-Figure Month Society, and we were building our product suite. And I was telling everyone, like, listen, you want to have a diversified product suite. You want to have accessible pricing. You also want to have premium pricing because you're a business owner and you need to support your needs. But there also needs to be a nice spectrum in your business that allows access to you and can meet the needs of people in your audience who might not be able to afford premium. So we get to meet everybody where they're at. And for me, that's very important because I come from the background of social work. So a huge value, a huge ethic of social workers is that we want to think about the macro perspective of society as a whole and make sure that everybody has access to resources, right? Now, that might look different in different capacities, but I know it's a value of mine to hold that true in my business. And it sounds like it's a value of yours. So my question for you is, thinking about pricing, what was something that you were taught in the beginning of building your business that you then realize is kind of shit and isn't helpful and doesn't work? And like what was that like for you when you realized it? What was it, and what was it like for you when you realized it?
So just so everyone knows, I came from a fitness coaching background. I am definitely, by all senses of the word, I call myself a coach, but I'm a certified personal trainer, all that jazz. But when I hired my first business coach, they were like, you need to charge 4 figures out the gate as soon as you start. That'll help build your confidence and it'll give you good cash injection. And when I was like, I'd rather start where I feel comfortable and then raise my prices as I feel comfortable. And they're like, no, fresh out. And mind you, I have the experience as a fitness coach to do that. My background, my trauma, my past did not match those price points. And so I had so much resistance towards it. And as a result, I wasn't selling anything. And then also because I was afraid I would come back feel like a failure to my business coach if I said I sold anything under than, the price point they gave me. So I wasn't selling anything. They didn't teach me how to downsell. They didn't talk about, like you said, having a diversified product suite. And so I just for months felt like I was not a successful entrepreneur because I wasn't selling my 3-month fitness coaching for $1,500. Now, I don't have a problem with the $1,500 price point. What I had a problem with was seeing brand new coaches, fitness coaches who never coached anyone online, hadn't had any client testimonies, and I truly believe coaching is a calling, right? Not every coach is called, but I feel that coaches who do this shit through and through, like, we are called for this work. This is light work. It just happens to fall under the area of coaching, right? And so I'm seeing these people who don't have the experience to match that price point going through the same struggles I was. Like, I'm not getting any clients and I'm not able to close this. And it's like, well, of course, you don't feel confident asking someone for $1,500 when you've never trained someone in person to begin with. So, like, of course. And so that was hard for me to overcome. And I remember I was missing a lot of sales, but when I started making sales is when I started selling where I felt comfortable. So instead of my first program being $500 with never coaching online before, I was like, I can do $300. And I slowly raised my prices from there. That made sense for me, but I was shamed into that. I was like, oh, well, you have a scarcity mindset. And sure, I'm a lifelong learner. So like, all right, take that scarcity mindset. But also, was it scarcity or was I meeting myself where I was at? And they were trying to get me to be where they're at, but part of coaching is meeting people where they're at.
Yeah, you just made the most important point of this entire conversation, is that there is a huge, big fucking difference between teaching somebody and coaching somebody. And I think that there is a disconnect in a lot of different spaces, because I experienced it as well. As you teach towards somebody to get the sale, you teach somebody to price the program, you teach somebody to get clients, but you're not actually coaching someone through the actual mindset, meeting them where they're at, assimilating to your clients so that you can help them get their first client, so that they can feel confident, so that they can start working on their scarcity mindset. Because you can't think your way out of a mindset issue. You can't think your way out of a mindset issue. You need to be coached into action so you can reprogram your mind to build new evidence and create new belief. Now, this is something that I want to speak to, the idea of pricing really quick, because I come from the area of like, sell one-to-one and sell it at a high ticket price, which is whatever price you can get behind in the beginning that helps you pay your bills, right? I teach intuitive pricing to my clients. So I tell them, this is a suggestion. You can start at $1,500, $2,500 for your first 8-week or 10-week program. That's where I started. That's what I was told. I actually sold my first program for $997 because I blurted out that number on the call instead of the price I was supposed to charge. And that's what felt right for me at the time. And you have to realize too, like, and I've seen this with my clients as well, is I come from a background of almost 10 years in mental health. I have a master's degree in psychology and social work. I've worked with thousands of clients in a mental health field as a therapist and counselor. And I was still like, can I actually charge this as a coach? You know what I mean? Because it's scary. And that's about understanding the experience of your client. So there are some people that are going to come in and be like, fuck yeah, 2,500, I'm in. I'm here for it. That's what I'm charging. I believe in myself at that price. I can get behind it. And then there are other people who are like, I'm going to charge $111 for one session. That's what I can believe in. That's what I can get behind. Like, that's it. And there's nothing wrong with either of those things. It's about understanding where you're at and giving yourself permission to do what you need to do to grow your business in the beginning. And yes, scarcity mindset, yes, money mindset, all of that stuff is there. It's very fucking real, but it's not something we're going to change overnight. And why have you sit in a place where you feel like shit about who you are, make yourself wrong, and then don't have clients either, and you're sitting here unable to build the confidence or belief that you need to actually scale your business. And this is one thing. And then I have another question for you, is like, I'd actually love to hear if you've experienced this too. So I've had clients that have come to me and they were told to charge $10,000 for their first program. I don't even charge $10,000 and I've been doing this for quite some time. And I was like, oh, okay, so okay, $10,000 program. They're like, yeah, I've been trying to get clients for almost a year and I haven't sold anything. And it's like, well, do you think that your coaching, not you, your coaching is worth $10,000? Can you actually get behind that price? And they're like, no, it actually scares the fuck out of me. I don't even want to say it on the call or on the conversation. I'm like, well, maybe you could lower your prices. And they're like, I can do that. I'm like, absolutely can't. You can charge whatever you want to charge. Like there is no rules or standards here. You just need to believe in what you're charging. That's it. And they come to me completely fucking dysregulated. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I feel bad. I feel wrong. They're making themselves wrong. Shame is running the show. And it's just like, oh God, this sucks, right? And it's like, I don't think that the people who are teaching this have ill intent. I just think that they don't get it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I haven't had coaches tell me that I need to charge that much per se, but I do know, what did I experience last year? Okay, so I created a signature course and launched it in, was that 2022 in January. Did a beta, which was way more, that shit was fire. I was like, okay, cool. Dark summer of last year where clients were dropping off and money was starting to slow down. And I was like, all right, everyone's been asking, when am I going to relaunch it? I'll redo it again this summer. And looking at the market, this wasn't a scarcity mindset. This was my intuition and looking at the market. And I was like, that ain't gonna work. But all my friends around me, and this is people who have never had their first 10K month. This is people who have never had a whole full roster of clients and have not been doing this for a while. They were like, no, you need to charge $5,000 for that program. This is not. I was like, okay. I know my program is life changing. I know it's worth it. However, I don't feel comfortable asking for that amount for this program. Not yet. Like I would like to. That's a big drop. Okay, because the beta launch was $1,500. So now you're saying just quadruple, just triple that number, right? Just because. And that's where I started to take a step back and look at the pricing models. Like, where are these numbers coming from, right? Like, are we just pulling numbers? Like, well, I'm worth it, so I'm just going to charge it. When I saw you like this office, I thought it was genius. He would bring in new coaches, some with no experience, and instead of this is fitness now. And he would tell us $250 a month per client until you get your first 10. By 10 clients, you will feel confident as fuck in what you do. You will have a lot of client testimonials, and like you'll have a community. So now when you up your price, I have the clients, I have the testimonials, I have the confidence, and I have a community to get part of. The values there. But he's like, you can start wherever you want. But if you're someone that struggles with that, start here. And that was the first time I've ever had a business coach tell me that. He was like, start here and you get your 10, then up it. And he's like, and then he taught us how to go, because he started from nothing. He started from trailer trash, and he talks about all the time he was a drug addict. So he knows what it's like to come from nothing. And he knows that for a lot of us, we can't just go from, I don't believe in myself, my family struggles, lights are on and off, like living in trauma and scarcity, to, I'm going to just start asking for a whole bunch of money. Some people can do that. But for those of us with deep-rooted trauma, and you understand because you work in the mental health space, you'll get that. We'll get to that in a minute. But anywho, about the pricing, it didn't sit well for me to charge that amount just because. And it wasn't that I didn't feel like I was enough. It was because, again, my intuition was like, look at the market. The people that normally used to hop on a call with you and have zero objections, after getting 11 no's back to back, I was like, all right, is this me or is this the market?
Right.
And I was like, this is the market. And so last year, I thought of the idea to start a membership. And that was in response to me the same women asking for me to launch that program again so they could take it. Were now ghosting me after booking calls. And I was like, I know they wanted this.
Yeah.
But about this is not working up with them. And that's what I think a lot of people don't consider. Like, just because you want to start a business, and this is now outside of coaching, this is entrepreneur mindset. Just because you have a product doesn't mean that people have to fucking buy it. Doesn't mean that people are going to pay you for it. You have to actually do the groundwork of some market research and be like, hey, it's not about you. If you're going to be like, entrepreneurs solve problems. So if you're not solving anybody's problem, I don't care what you price it at, nobody's going to buy it. And so, yes, you can price yourself super high and people see that work. But in a time when inflation was just skyrocketing overnight, left and right, layoffs left and right, $5,000 for 3 months of your time, ladies, and they're like, hey, I don't have gas money. At this point, it's not me having a scarcity mindset. It's like, I'm trying to serve this demographic of people, and they don't, like, my offerings are not matching my demographic. That means I get to go back to the lab and come up with something different. That means that as an entrepreneur, I get to pivot so that I can persevere. I can keep waving my I want time flag while you're struggling to pay bills, or I can be like, hey, you know what? I've got this course. Let me see if I can break it up and do modules and do workshops with you guys in these individual modules so that you still get that wisdom without me telling you to take out a loan and put yourself in debt.
Yeah.
While I'm over here taking trips. And that's another thing. I've talked to so many clients who are like, that was really weird to see the prices just keep going up for coaching. I'm losing access to this coach that's charging so much money, and they're taking trips, having the best time of their life, and I'm not getting the attention I need. So seeing that and just everything last year really made me sit down and reconsider my price. Is my pricing set to serve and to grow my business, or is my pricing just set to grow my business?
I love that. I love that. It's so important too, is like the idea of having accessibility and thinking about who you're selling to and what the demographic is and what the market is. I was literally just having this conversation yesterday. Again, this was a big part because we were talking about product suite. So I was talking about understanding like how to figure out what's going to sell. And the truth is that nobody can tell you what the fuck is going to sell. The only people that can tell you what's going to sell is the market and your ideal clients. And the only way to find that out is either go do market research or put an offer out there and be willing to let it flop if it needs to, and then learn from it. But here's where that becomes problematic for most people, is that there's two components here, and both come down to the same common denominator, is that we're told this toxic thing, charge what you're worth, which fucking makes me crazy. It makes me insane. I'm like, do I talk about this too much? I'm like, no, I can't be talking about it enough. Like, I can't be talking about it enough, because when we're told to charge what we're worth, two things happen. We either go into proving that we're worthy by overcharging, right? And then it's like, I have to charge this, so I have to prove that I'm worthy by having these really high prices. And it prevents us from being flexible and depersonalizing the pricing and creating lower ticket offers and selling lower ticket offers. And then we're like, but I'm so worthy, I have to charge so much. And it's like, yeah, your coaching might be highly valuable. There is a container for that. That is your one-to-one. Then there is other containers where you can create accessible pricing, and it doesn't make you bad or wrong to have low ticket offers. It doesn't make you look desperate or cheap or whatever story you've created from shame around why you can't. Now the opposing side of that is charge what you're worth, and people are undercharged, right? Then that's the obvious one, is that people undercharge. So a lot of times I have conversations with my clients about raising their prices because they truly are undercharging for their one-to-one coaching or their group program. And it's like, okay, we need to have that conversation because they've had results, they have certifications, they have degrees, they have we called it receipts yesterday, they have the receipts, right? And it's like, okay, we need to talk about raising your price. Like, why are you still charging $555 for one-to-one coaching a month? Like, I think that we could take that up a bit. Like, you have a lot of experience and a lot of testimonials, right? And it's about understanding who you're selling to for those different containers. And understanding that, and also creating, I do scholarships, I do all types of things, because when we're taken care of with our bills, then we can be altruistic, we can do philanthropy work, we can be generous, we can offer scholarships, we can do all of those things. So it's really important to take away the personalizing and the prices, to remove our worth and understand that we're charging for the value of the solution and the service that we provide. So solutions come in courses, services come in coaching. And that's kind of how I separate it. Because when I'm looking at my services, I actually quantify my services, access to me, my brain, my coaching, all of that, and the transformations that happen in those containers as much more than a teaching a solution, honestly. And I think that sometimes we flip that for people, and that just doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. But we can't get to any place where we actually can have different styles of pricing and be opening to pivot like you did with your program, which was genius. It's like, okay, this obviously isn't working right now. So what do I need to know? And the person that I love who talks about this, I don't know how to say his last name, Alex Hermosi, you know who I'm talking about. He talks about adapt or die. And I actually learned that. I didn't realize I worked for a gym, and they must have gone through his gym launch program, and they used to use that as their motto. And then I heard him say it. So that's something I've kind of understood as an entrepreneur for a long time, where it's like, you have to be willing to adapt, and you can't adapt when you're driving your business bus from shame and making yourself wrong and bad and not curious and thinking that you're always doing something fucking wrong, or that other people have some magic solution that you don't, or that you have to prove or you can't or whatever, right? And so it sounds like after you did that, you learned a really valuable lesson in your pricing and in the market, huh? When you changed that price on that program.
I learned that, well, one, it helped me get clear about who I wanted to work with. And that was an issue. That's something that I kept running into with my business coaches, because I always knew the kind of work I wanted to do. I started off with ministry. So like I had a social work mentality where like I want to help the collective. And so I had to finally be real with myself. Like the people that they want me to market to, that's a whole nother story. It's like telling someone who's come from nothing to start serving, you know, the wealthy, like that brings up a whole nother amount of shame and incongruency with the product. Like the way that I would, you know what I'm saying? Like there's incongruency there. And I had to realize like, okay, part of the reason why I don't feel comfortable charging that price is not because I have a scarcity mindset, but because that doesn't match the women I want to serve. I want to serve women who are like Bonnie, who was a full-time server mom, working full-time in the gym, trying to build her businesses, trying, just wishing, hoping, praying, like, is there something out there that can help lighten this load? I'm doing everything that I can. I remember John Maxwell was the first coaching program that caught my eyes, and coming from ministry background. So I was like, I love him. I love his things, his ethics. And I saw the 10 grand amount. And it's funny that you mentioned other people asking to charge 10 grand, and I talked about why, whatever, I'll get there in a minute. To me back then, you might as well have said $1 million. So I looked at that and I just remember my heart going down. Like, dang it, man, that's the one coach in the beginning that I knew in this industry that I would trust, and it's 10K to work with him. I'm never gonna have that kind of money. So I got really sad. I eventually found something that worked, and it was they had a good payment plan, but I was like, when you're pricing your product, especially when you're looking at your client's journey, and that's why I created that product suite, so thinking of my client's journey. I was like, all right, I could now drop 10K for a coach. I've done, like, you know, we're there. Did you start here? No, you didn't. I'm like, you started with paying your in-person coach, like what, $40 a session. And for me back then, that was a stretch. And then after I got comfortable spending money with that coach, I was like, okay, this is actually an investment. I'm becoming better every day. It made me easier. I regulated my nervous system slowly to investing in myself, instead of let me just empty out my account, which I had done multiple times. I didn't need to, whatever. It helped me remember, like, Bonnie, you started off here, so this is where you get to meet. If this is who you want to serve, this is where you get to start off meeting them. Don't expect a woman that's in, you know, a Bonnie, you know, a woman like me to just empty her bank account like you did, because you know you want a coach, you know where you're trying to get to. She's still trying to figure out what the next step is. So to ask this struggling single mom for $5 grand that she either doesn't have, she has to take out of she got to take out a loan, or she's got to empty her bank account. For me, that just didn't line up. That happened to me multiple times, and it was for coaches who I was not their ideal client. I got into their community, and it was for specifically for people who had come from the corporate world, who are already making a decent amount of money and wanted to switch to coaching. And one of the things that burned in my soul is that on the consultation, I told them who I was and where I was in my life, and that I don't have any days off right now, and that I am a single mom living in my mom's garage because I'm so committed to my dream that I gave up my home. And they're like, yeah, this program will be great for you. Get in there, and it's not. Like, they're talking about mindset stuff that I just couldn't even wrap my head around. And and everyone in there is just light years ahead of me. And I was like, wow, I really emptied out my savings account and I'm away from my kids for this program that was not for me, but they took my money anyways. I want to be that coach.
Yeah.
So I'm going to offer entry levels for women who are on that path like me, but aren't quite there yet to where that's a possibility. Because that's what I've seen work, is that like, if I can meet them where they're at, when they're ready, they'll be like, okay, now I understand. And now I trust myself enough to take that leap.
Yeah, I just love this conversation so much because there's so many things to talk about here in regards to, I call it quality money over quantity money. So a big thing that I talk to my clients about is like, okay, you're in this business, and I work with women at all different ends of the spectrum. So I have women that are resourced, have money, they're in my one-to-one, they can pay high ticket pricing, right? Like it's not most of the times women have been with me through the client journey too, so they've been able to get the resources, build the capacity, expand their nervous system, and be able to come to a place where they're able to invest and make those payments or pay in full or whatever, and not feel dysregulated, so they can actually grow their fucking business and not be constantly worried about how am I going to get clients so I can pay my bill to my coach. Because when we're in, I've been there. And I came from a place when I came into this industry where I was very regulated and had done tons of work on myself and was willing to invest at high ticket. But I remember the first call I ever did too was $12,000. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm never going to be able to afford coaching. And then my first coach that I paid for was $3,500, and I had to max out some credit cards and get some help. But I was at a point where that was okay. I was willing to do that. I had built the stability in my nervous system and in myself, and trust in myself to be able to do that. But like, this is why when we talk about the invest at an edge, invest at your expansion, like we need to be very fucking clear like what that means, and not just be pushing people to dump their money into programs that might not even be the right fit for them. Because I have products in my suite that range from $111 a month, basically a gym membership, to $3,000 a month for my private coaching. And so like these are way different ends of the spectrum, right? But there's places for everybody to come in. And when people are talking about invest in an edge, we need to be very careful not to fall into that narrative and think that we have to do that in order to grow our business, and that in order to grow our business we have to be completely dysregulated and dump all of our money into something, because that's not the case. I don't want you to come into my container. I will literally tell people, do not hire me if you are going to be dysregulated after this investment. I don't want you to hire me. Please don't. Because I don't want to spend the first 2 months of our coaching container trying to regulate you, and then you're sitting there wondering why the fuck you don't have results yet. And it's like, well, we had to do some work because you invested beyond an edge, not at an edge, beyond the edge. And so we need to be very careful not to fall into that narrative and understand what's the right fit for us right now. Like, I know for me, it's important to stretch yourself. I know what a stretch is for me so that I can feel expanded by the investment. Like $111 investment is not expansive to me anymore. Doesn't mean I don't make those, but that's not, if I'm looking for a one-to-one coach, I'm probably going to go larger than that, because I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into coaching so far. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a point now where that feels okay in my body. But for somebody else, an edge could be $47 a month.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like, that's amazing. There's no shame or bad or good or either of those things. None is right or wrong or good or bad. They just simply are. And so we need to have this self-awareness to say, what is right for me? And if I am investing in a coach to start a business, or lose weight, get healthy and get fit, or heal my relationships, or find a partner, or whatever, we need to look at where we're currently at financially and ask what would feel fun and exciting, not what would feel fucking terrifying and put me over an edge. Yes.
You said, I wanted to share this story because it kind of falls in line with the first reel that it wasn't your first reel, but the one that I like remixed.
Oh yeah.
So one of my clients, again, those of you that are just joining, I own a women's personal development business, and we stretch from all aspects. It's a holistic life coaching, mind, body, and soul. And I usually bring people into the fitness area because that's where people feel comfortable starting. Even if they come to me for life coaching, when I hear what they're going through, I was like, let's just start with some basic structure in your life. Because if and this is my own personal theory, like once you can master the body, it makes it so much easier to do everything else. Because you're also mastering the mind at the same time. So it's a 2 for 1. Anywho, get this lady into my program. She's a life coach. And she looked up to me and I was like, great, yes, I would love to have you. She didn't want to invest in me as her like life coach and to help her with her business because she had just spent $20,000, not on a business coaching course, but on a life coaching certification.
Yeah.
And my heart just like shattered because I was like, on a certification, like I believe in education. I'm always learning. I'm always, if I can, I'm like I actually had to slow down from certification. I was just like spending money, but I'm like, damn, $20,000 for a life coaching certification. And to keep it real with you, this is a woman of color. This is a woman of color who is not skinny. This is a woman of color who wears her natural hair. You guys know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
A spade a spade. There's certain people that do better on social media, and it's people that look a certain way. Whether you are black or brown or white, there's a certain persona, especially in America, that you look unconscious bias as a certain amount of trust and a certain amount of willingness to just by the branding, just by the way that you look, and it's not that I'm not calling anybody racist, it's just what the fuck.
No, it's real. It's real shit. There's privilege, there's unconscious bias, there's real shit that happens on a human level that we're not even conscious of when we see people who look different than us, especially with certain races and genders, and it's just real shit, and it's perfect to talk about. I'm happy that you're bringing it up.
And it broke, I have so much respect for coaches and this space, if you can't tell. I call everybody a coach. I don't care if whatever. I don't care what level you're at, I'm calling you coach. And so I would always refer to her, even though she's my kind. I'm like, Coach, how are we doing today? Coach, how are we doing? And then one day she was like, Coach, I have never had a client, and it kills me every time that you call me coach. And she finally called down, and we started to discuss why she was having trouble making progress. And she's like, well, I'm going through course, but I also that's enough in itself. But he's like, I spent the money that I had to invest in this life coaching certification. I haven't had a client. I'm going through course. Like, life is just whatever. And eventually she ended up just falling off the face of the earth and ghosting me because, again, shame keeps us from showing up. And that just broke my heart. So I'm like, when those people, God damn it, when those people told that woman that program, I'm like, you know who this program is for. You know a $20,000 price tag is not for this woman. Like, and so how do you ethically do that? And that, I've always questioned, I'm like, am I going to be, no, I'm not. I'm like, but am I that business owner that's never going to become like as much as it could be because they're out here trying to feed everybody else? I'm like, no, it's a burden that's on my heart for a reason because it needs to be spoken about. And there's a way that you can get to the top. There's a way that you can become successful without stepping on the backs of those that you claim you want to help. And that was the biggest thing to me. That was the biggest reason why I created a product suite. So I'm like, if I want to reach Tony Robbins status, and I am and I will, like that's the thing.
You will, yep.
Right? I don't want to tell women, I want to help you get where I am, but also like, I'm going to make you go bankrupt to do it. I believe that there's a way that you can help people, like we said, meet them where they're at. So that right there, the pricing, I'll never get over that. That just broke my heart. That could be one thing if it was a business coaching course and you actually taught things like how to make the product suite, how to do a pitch, how to pitch to investors, how to have an exit strategy. If you're going to teach someone real business stuff, even then, I can get that for free for most networking events. But whatever, they're not even teaching that. It's a life coaching certification. And honestly, like I have a life coaching certification and it is useful. It gave me a framework for my sessions, but my life coaching certification is the obstacles that I've overcome and the life experiences, the intuitive wisdom, all of that jazz. So that certification helped, and I've got one that I got for a fraction of her cost. And I just want for anyone that is listening to this, like, don't think that just because someone slapped an expensive price tag on something that automatically means that it's worth that. Because I got a $7,000 health and life coaching certification that has run my business for years, and I've made that money back and then some. This woman still hasn't had a client for that price tag. So that's my 2-bit on people acting a damn fool with pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. And I think it's so important. I just want to talk about this too, is like, is to be very fucking clear in what you sell when you're marketing yourself, right? So like, I am a mindset and business coach. When you come to me, I specifically work with coaches. I am going to show coaches how to build successful businesses online. I'm not going to show you how to pitch to investors because you don't need to fucking do that when you're a coach and you're just coming in. I'm going to show you how to create content. And I'm very clear about that. But if you want that, then you could go learn that from somebody else. But we need to be clear on what we are marketing. And I think that this is, I'm going to try not to go on a tangent. I think that this is a problem that is experienced because people are kind of just like taking information, being told what to do, and then going to do it because they really want to build their business and they're really eager. And like, that's fine. But we need to be clear on what we're selling. So, like, and who we're selling it to. So, when we're talking about, I'm a mindset coach and I'm going to show you how to make $100,000 months, like, okay, well, who are we actually talking to? Because you're not going to jump in as a coach who's just started. Let me not say not, but it is highly likely that you won't just start your business and then do some mindset work and then all of a sudden have $100,000 month. Like, that's just not the case for 99.9% of the people. I believe in magic and miracles, for so sure that could happen for somebody. But like, what I've seen and what I've experienced is not the case. So like, we need to be very clear. Like, I work with coaches who are in their first or second year. They've had a couple 2K, 5K months. They're looking to scale to 10K or 20K. We're going to work on strategy, marketing, selling, mindset, and we're going to help get through any of the trauma responses that are showing up in your business that are holding you back from getting visible, that are holding you back from selling, that are making you feel like you're not good enough, so that you can resiliently scale your business. That's what I do. That's who I help. I'm not out here saying I'm going to help you make, and you have a really cool vision board coming up. So I'm not knocking vision boards, but I'm not going to show you how to make a vision board and then you're going to have a 20K month. Like, that's not the case. But maybe if you're at a 15K, 10K, 5K month, you already understand the strategy, you have the foundations in place, then that's the next step for you. And that would be a place for you to go, right? Like, maybe that's what you need. But this is where I want to encourage everybody here to be conscious consumers. You're on a platform, I'm saying that at the detriment to marketing, right? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't care because I market ethically, so I don't have to worry about that. But like, be a conscious consumer, understand what you're consuming, and that not everyone is marketing to you.
That part. And I think that that's where we get to talk more about it. And I talk a little bit more about that. And I like what you said, not to detriment marketing, but sometimes when I'm talking on my stories and I'm like pulling the veil behind the thing and like saying this is what's happening when people are telling me this, part of me is like, oh man, am I knocking someone's hustle? And I'm like, no, but because I'm a conscious coach. And I understand, like, I'm literally here to help, not just to line my pockets. And I believe I can line my pockets and help people at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
They don't be on different wavelengths. And so I saw this post and I shared it with my team this morning. And it was like, good marketing techniques or something need to be in the hands of the light workers and the healers, because let's just be real, marketing is a shit show. Like, there are a lot of people who don't have ethics, who are great marketers, and they're leaving our ideal clients and the market disenfranchised. And that's where I started to like stop taking, where I stopped holding my tongue, where I was like, all right, cool. Y'all want to, like, I'm not knocking your hustle. It's a capitalist society. Like, that's what it is. Make that money. But if you're doing it to the point where I now have people who are afraid to invest in themselves because your ass is over here selling pipe trees, your ass is over here, like, I'm like, that's a problem. Like, because those are, like, again, I have a pastor's heart. So like, I see the collective and I'm like, you're hurting our people. Like, we're all one, we're all connected. Why you ain't got to do it like that? You don't have to do it like that. So I think that it's great that you talk, that we need to talk more about letting people know those sort of things. Like, when I talk about my fitness coaching, I know that it's going to take longer for me to get women into my community because I market ethically. I don't say I'm going to help you lose 15 pounds in 3 weeks. I don't say we're going to do this crazy, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I can help you slim your waist. It may take 4 months or whatever. Like, I'm just being real. I'm like, hey, ladies, you know that when people are saying this, they're targeting your insecurities. Meanwhile, we're over here focusing on the woman you want to be. I'm not saying either is bad, but I do let people know, like, yo, understand what marketing is. Understand that, like you said, not everything is for you.
Right. And understand your motives. understand your own motives. Like, this is an opportunity for everybody who's here right now to look at, what am I looking for? What am I looking to invest in? Am I looking to invest in some quick fix to get me to my first 10K month in 5 weeks so that I can feel good enough? Like, honestly, let's all be very real and self-aware right now and take this time for self-reflection. Like, what are you looking to invest in? Do you find yourself investing in courses and programs that are marketing you a huge result in a short amount of time because you're looking for shortcuts and you want to get there faster to make yourself feel like it's working and that you're good enough? Or are you someone who's willing to take a more realistic approach to sustainable growth toward a goal, whatever that goal might be, whether it's losing weight, whether it's making money, growing a business, whatever? Do you find yourself attracted more to the messaging that's telling you, hey, listen, this takes fucking time. Like, growing a business isn't easy. Like, if you want to have sustainable growth in your business, it's much more important to focus on building a personal brand first and building relationships with your audience. And that actually takes more time. You might not want to leave your 9 to 5 today so that you can fucking make a 10K month next month. Maybe we should stay at your 9 to 5 and really kind of work on building your personal brand, getting good at marketing and selling, start getting your first few clients in, so then you can feel safe in your body, in your business, and build the resiliency you need to then leave your 9 to 5 and manage the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship. Or I could say, hey, go quit your job and let's make your first 10K month in 30 days. Which one are you buying? The reason people market like that is because it works. So we have to be the change. What change are we going to be? We're going to be the conscious consumers who invest in ourselves and understand that this is a real life experience and things take time. And if I've been someone who's been, we'll use weight loss, I know for me, because I was also a fitness coach for a period of time, and I've done the binge dieting and the things and all the things and the Spartan races and the counting the macros and done all the fucking things. And like, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But I was seeking a quick fix to fill a void internally. And so it wasn't sustainable. And it was because I invested in these things that were marketed as quick fixes. So if you're somebody who finds yourself attracted to that kind of marketing, to those kind of quick fixes, this is an opportunity for you right now to love yourself and say, hey, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Am I willing to take time to meet a huge goal and desire that I have for my life?
That right there. I love that connection to, am I the person that's attracted to the quick fixes? Yes, Coach Tish, we get to be the change.
Yes, girl.
Because that is that it does. It shows where you're at and if that's something that you need to be investing in right now. I think you touched on a point that is near and dear to my heart, which is that your branding, a business takes time, right? This is something that as the pandemic is coming to a close or whatever, I'm getting out and about more here in the city and just networking with more entrepreneurs. Something that I found comfort in being around like real entrepreneurs. And I mean real, like we didn't hop on this train because it was trendy and then hop off when it got hard. I've started building a community of people who've been in this for 10, 20, 30 years. And listening to their ups and their downs of business, and listening to people who've sold stuff out of the back of their car, a multi-million-dollar freaking tech business, and just hearing their stories, I'm like, dang, I really wanted to have what they had in 3 months. I literally bought that lie, but I also very much didn't, because I always had so much resistance around everything my business coaches were telling me. I was like, okay. I'm like, I think I need more time. But it's true, like the people that are attracted to the type of quick fix things, it says a lot. And this isn't to bash anyone, but it just says a lot about where you're at growth journey. You are the type of woman that's only looking, and we purposely don't market to women like that for that reason. I have literally denied people into my membership because they're like, well, I just want to lose weight real quick. And then I was like, okay, so the woman that we actually like to work with is on a journey to do it all. She wants a mind, body, soul reset. And if you're not there yet, this probably won't be a program for you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those women sat with that, thought about their whys, and then I woke up to them coming into the program anyways, like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And so that was a win-win for both of us. And I think that when sometimes people, I think that that's where we also get ethical. You can call up and you can call them out like, hey, yes, I can take your money, but also you're not gonna fit in my community, so you're not gonna get what you're seeking. And you're also not going to be an asset to my community. Like, you're going to bring us down through low vibe and ass energy. So I tell people, no. Because I don't, my women in there, we have already cultivated this mindset that this is a long, and that you are always growing, and that setbacks are normal, and all these things that you don't hear in traditional quick fix programs. No, you gotta do this. And the same thing with business coaching. You gotta post 2 times a day, which I like creating content.
Yeah, that's easy for me too, but I don't really have a problem with that one. But for some people, that's really fucking hard, right? For some people, it's really hard. Yeah.
For people who are not comfortable in their voice, or you just have a lot going on. But those techniques, like, okay, I'm gonna post 2 times a day or 5 times a day, and I'm gonna send, 100 DMs a day, and at this rate, because it is a numbers game, I'll make this much in about a month or 2. And I'm gonna speak on that for a second. I built my first 5-figure month was from that hustle strategy, and it worked well until it didn't. It worked well until, and this is where we talk about this a lot, and this is what really drew me to you. It worked well until those type of things are the same in weight loss as they are in business. They're quick fixes, and they're not foundation builders. And so what happened was I quickly went from literally like negatives in my business banking account February 2021 to my first 10K month in March 2020, same year, the next month. And everything was all well and good until it just kept growing. And now my nervous system is like, it took a lot to get there. And if they're telling me I have to keep growing, I got to get 50 months and I got to get to this. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And instead of the upward spiral that I've been taught, I started to go back to what I know best. My unconscious mind went back to survival mode. It's like, Bonnie doesn't feel safe making this much money. Bonnie wakes up in the night full of anxiety, wondering how she's going to sustain this. Bonnie doesn't think that she can handle all of this. So when did Bonnie feel safe and comfortable? When she was surviving, because she's been surviving her whole life. So that's where we went back to. And I really had to sit with that and realize, like, okay, so this is not sustainable. This is not the way that I'm going to build a brand that aligns with me. I was moving so fast. I was creating things that did not align with me, creating programs that did not align with me. I had friends like, hey, when are you going to start being authentic online?
Oh God, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah. Everyone tells me they love how real I am.
But they know you.
Content, like, oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Oh my God, this is such an important conversation. If this is resonating with any of you, first of all, go follow Bonnie if you haven't already. If you're here and you don't follow Bonnie, go follow her. But also, I just put up a post today. It's my story and it's your story. Like, it's our story. If anybody who's been in this for a minute and has done those things and has learned those valuable lessons around what's sustainable and what's not, there is so much information that you can take from this conversation, from that post I just put up around, like, to help you decide, what do you want your business to look like? How do you want to feel when you're building your business? Because my first mastermind, I had been having high cash months at this point, for pretty quickly. My success happened pretty quickly, which triggered the fuck out of me, right? And my first mastermind that I sold 27 spaces into this mastermind, and I gave everyone Boxer, and I gave everybody a monthly one-to-one, and then we also had our weekly group calls, and then I still had my one-to-one clients. It was launching courses every month. When I tell you, and my trauma allowed me to run on that, because that was my trauma response, is hyperdrive. Run as fast as you fucking can away from yourself and toward everything else. And so I was able to do that, but I was completely dysregulated and nobody knew. And that's the scary thing about that type of trauma response, is that when you're able to run in hyperdrive like that, when you're somebody who your trauma response moves you towards success out of a place you need to prove that you're worthy, or you need to kind of create like that fuck you money to show everybody, right? Like, when your trauma response is rewarded with success, with money, and people can't see it and they just say, wow, you're so successful, how do you do it all? Yeah. Then it's really easy to stay conditioned in that pattern. It's really easy because you're getting high off the adrenaline. First of all, your body is conditioned to that response and you're being rewarded. So it took me a whole year of running like that, but eventually you will burn out. It's like the roller coaster with no brakes. Eventually it's going to fly off the tracks and crash. And that's what happened to me. And so I want you all to learn from these experiences that we're sharing about like what's sustainable, what's ethical, what's going to feel okay with you and your body, be aligned with your values, and really be able to make decisions now. How do I want my business to look? How do I want to feel when I'm building my business? Who do I want to be as a leader, as an entrepreneur? I want you guys to really think about that today, because that's going to help you decide where to get support next, what decision to make next. It's so fucking real. The roller coaster turned into a vomit comment. Can I please use that, Coach Tish? Can I please use vomit comment? Because that's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's so good.
Hits me with these funny things every day. I love it.
I love it so much. Is this one of your membership clients? Yes.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. But yeah, I want you guys to think about that today. And then, Bonnie, if there's one piece of advice that you could give everybody today on pricing, what would it be?
Listen to your intuition. And I know that seems so blanket and so like if you're not tapped into your intuition, you're like, Bonnie, what does that mean? That's your journey. That's your assignment then.
Oh.
Act with your intuition so that when you write a price, like I do this with my team when we're pricing, I'm like, okay, like I go through, like I play with a bunch of different prices. I think about my energy. There we go. Sorry, that. Yes, intuition, but energy. Like it's not about the hour. So I realized that when I get off a coaching call, one, I need, depending on how deep that call is, I may need a whole hour to like just freaking collect myself. And I was not giving myself that hour because I was like, I gotta hit 10K mood. Like, you know, gotta get people on calendar. Energy. It's not about that hour that you spend on the call. It's about the energy that you put into perhaps putting their program together. I do like a recap email that goes through everything that we talked about in the call and fill it with resources. That shit takes my scattered brain ass like almost an hour.
Bless your heart. That's deep. Bless your heart. That's really powerful. I love that you do that. Cause I'm like, here's the recording. I'm like, here's the recording.
ADHD sometimes wins. So I like, but that guys, you have to think about not just, you're not paying, like she said, it's not an hour of your time, it's the energy that it takes. And it's like, yeah, you want to meet people where they are, but you also want to stretch them. And this is something I had to remember. It's like, I'm not doing my job as a coach by teaching them that they don't get to invest in themselves at a level that they want to be at. So intuition, like what feels good for the people that you want to serve, not who your coach, not your coach's goals. I tried that didn't work. Not what people who've never been in your shoes and run a fucking business tell you to price, or your specific business for that matter. And then also your energy. What price can you devote the amount of energy that you put into your clients where you can feel good and they can feel stretched and they can walk away and be like, that was the best investment of my life. Not what the fuck did I just spend $5,000 on?
I love it. We always want people to walk away thinking, wow, that was way more than I expected. She over delivered there. That's really the goal here. And so I want to thank you. I have a session. I want to thank you so much, Bonnie. This is so good. Tell everybody where they can follow you at really quick.
As you can see, you're on Facebook, it's Bonnie Patterson. If you like podcasts and you like to talk love mixed with feminine and masculine energy, that's who I am. Check me out at The Boss Life with Bond, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever podcasts are at. Where you stream.
Best name for a podcast too. I just love you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for all the wisdom that you shared with us today. And I'll check in with you later after I get off this call. All right. Bye, everyone.